We have over 9,500 homes under contract right now.
Wow.
Right. Like as of last night. And that's,
that is a big
UCB,
uptick.
CCBS and pending. So you know what pending is? CCBS is, do they have another home to sell? So it might not close in December because they have another home to sell. It's contingent. And UCB is just they're under contract accepting backup offers. So that one's likely going to go through. But Armless reported in November with their, Tom Ruff, the commentary that I always like to read that Armless sends out, that December is going to be kind of quiet, probably the most quiet on record, very few contract signings, very few closings, and few new sellers placing their home on the market. I think they were right about the few new home sellers placing their home on the market, but I think they're very, very surprised about the amount of activity we got in December.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can see that.
Hey y'all, Katie here with Team Evoaz, and welcome to the Arizona Monthly Market Housing Update with Matt and Katie, where you learn all about the greater Phoenix area housing market, including information on interest rates, what's happening with housing prices, and tips and tricks for buyers and sellers. Please like, subscribe, and download our episode so that we can continue to get this real news out to the real people.
Hey everybody, it's Katie and
Matt.
And Ryan. We need you in on that, Ryan, since every time we do it, you're here anyway.
I do, yeah. We'll do that next time. Start the year off right.
We'll start off 2023 with Katie and Matt and
Ryan. All right.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to our very last show of the year. This is our last monthly market housing update here in the Phoenix area. Matt and I are that married couple here in Phoenix that has been doing real estate for as long as we can remember, right, Matt?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm nearing the amount of time I've been doing real estate or in the industry longer than I haven't.
Same here. Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
Right? It's bizarre, right? Like to think about that. But let's hop right into it. We got a lot of juicy bits for y'all, kind of wrapping up with the what this month is looking like in Phoenix real estate. Let's start with rates, Ryan. Do we have some good news on the rate front?
We do. Yes, I'm excited to report. Last two podcasts we've done have been very exciting for me because we're spreading some good news. So last week, the November Consumer Price Index came out, and it did show that inflation dropped. That's what we wanted to see. It went from 7.7 to 7.1%. And as we've talked about before, if you're new to the show, just to keep it as simple as possible, as inflation goes down, mortgage rates go down with it. So we're down about a full percent since mortgage rates hit their highs in October. And we are expecting that trend to continue. Now, there was some confusion. I got a lot of calls last week from a lot of our clients because, the Federal Reserve came out and they did say that, hey, we're increasing rates 0.5%. And, there's a lot of confusion about that because that does not mean that mortgage rates are going up 0.5%. That impacts credit cards, lines of credit, car loans, personal loans, things like that. So really what the Federal Reserve is doing, though, because they only increased it 0.5%, that's actually lower than the 0.75% that they had been increasing it since about July through November. So really what that means is they're acknowledging that these hikes have worked and inflation is starting to turn and to get lower. And they're not needing to jump in and really hike rates as much as they were in the past. So that's great news. So we should continue to see inflation go down. And in turn, next year, we should see mortgage rates drop with it. So good news ahead, we feel.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I saw a little statistic yesterday, and correct me if I'm wrong, but are applications up something like 3.5%?
Mortgage applications have increased, for purchases and for refinance as well. Even though we're going off of, very low rates in 2020 and 2021, there's still a lot of people that are taking advantage of refinancing to consolidate debts right now. But on top of that, yes, even, just ourselves as Waterstone and our branch, we have seen mortgage applications for purchases here in Maricopa County increase by about 5% over the past week and a half. So we've seen it slowly ticking up after they hit really lows at the end of October.
And we're seeing it too on the real estate side with more buyer calls, buyers kind of hopping the fence. We got more buyers in the car. We're getting more showings on listings. It was quiet there for a minute. October, November was worse.
Yes.
And now December is there's a little bit of life in December. So it's kind of exciting. And we're really seeing that in the inventory levels. So
Yeah.
our inventory is like plummeting.
Yes, it very much so is. And it's strange. It's not strange. It's actually pretty cool. It goes alongside with what you were saying, Ryan. It's mostly all rate driven, but especially that narrative of the rates and how they're responding and all of this news and consumer confidence and such. But if you look back when we had those rates being as high as they were, we were sitting at how I track properties here in Maricopa and Pinal County. We were teetering right before 20,000 homes. And before I looked today, we're at 16,100. That is literally almost a 17% drop
That's huge.
in
Wow.
a little over 45 days,
Yeah.
which is huge. So I think there's a lot to be said with that.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know about you two, but we actually saw a couple properties, a few of our clients over the past week were in bidding wars. There were two other offers on other homes that they were making offers on, and they were shocked. They're like, "What? Isn't it kind of slower right now? Well, why are we in a bidding war again?" So it's kind of interesting how things have really changed over the past few weeks.
It is interesting. And if you price appropriately or even a little on the aggressive side and you in your condition matches that price point, then yeah, I mean, things are going well for you. And also builders. So builders, things are going, yeah, they have some specs and they're starting to bring back incentives. They're actually starting to pay agents again to take their buyers into the community. So that's when things are changing. But those are going pretty rapidly too. I've been kind of watching builder inventory and talking with a couple of builders here and there. And they are still doing pretty well.
Yeah, and that'll be an interesting one too, because it's very interesting how builders kind of play their game. It's a lot different than resale. Obviously, resale, we've always noticed shadows kind of what these new builds are doing, these outerlying areas. And after 2008, builders in Arizona really had to kind of rewrite their playbook. They got a really big dose of building too much and getting ahead of themselves.
Yeah.
And I think no one wants to go down that path again. And it was interesting. One of the metrics that comes out nationally, it came out, it was like 4 or 5 days ago. It was still 12 months of decline, but it's the first time in 6 months that we're higher than the month prior to. And a lot of the people that were weighing in on this metric were saying, this is a really good indicator that we are at the bottom or the bottom is near. Now, this is a national average. This isn't Arizona. And I think Arizona is way more prepared than the rest of the state. And it's a way different economy and a way different supply and demand situation. So I think that's real exciting. The other side of it is the way that builders can manage their books is exactly what we've seen over this last year, where all of a sudden incentives go up. There was no price adjustments. It was incentives. Will give you more closing costs, more money at the design center, more commissions to realtors, all these things. Now they're actually acknowledging that going into 2023, there are going to be approaching this with price adjustment. Once again, that's nationally, but it will be really interesting to see how that plays out here in Phoenix.
And then I wonder so if they go through a price adjustment, oh, you know what? I know that I just answered my own question. I have somebody that is under contract with a builder. They did go through a price adjustment not too long ago, and they actually passed it on to that buyer, even though they were under contract. So I wonder if that's common.
Yeah,
because I mean,
they will, and it's to their benefit if you think, because they don't want that person canceling. If all of a sudden they cancel, now they have two that are available. So I'm sure that in their approach and when determining how they're going to lower prices, it's all based off their equilibrium, how many they have in contract at what price, and how would they have to adjust that without upsetting the waters and changing inventory and blah, 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 all that stuff. So,
well, and they have to maintain the price point too. So if they start having appraisals coming in light,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's going to be a super aggressive approach. Maybe we'll see it in certain communities.
Yeah.
But like you just said, we're starting to see multiple offers. Our inventory level is going to play a huge role in this.
Yeah.
And to what Ryan just said, he had clients that said they're in multiple bid situations. We're seeing that. And I think it's kind of indicative of what we have available. It's this inventory that's been sitting. The average days on markets are high. And when you look at these properties, the ones that are the highest are the ones that just need a lot of work, the ones that are really, not appealing to who's really buying right now and ready to just pay a price. Those people are looking for turnkey homes. They have their life, they have their money, how it's coming in, and they don't want to upset that. Whereas the other pool of buyers are the people that are looking for a good deal. And those are two very big buckets difference.
They are different, but if you look at those properties that have been hanging around for the 120 days, whatever it is, and you do the math, that puts them back into that part of the market where we really adjusted, and we adjusted really quickly. And if you didn't adjust along with that, then you were kind of dusted and you got a stale listing on your hands. And I think that there's a certain percentage of people that are in that predicament. And, maybe they just didn't come to terms. Who knows what their situations are and how much they knew and how educated and guided they were, but maybe they just didn't come to terms with the fact that, we got to drop our price quite significantly in order to keep up at this point when inventory was really at its highest.
Yeah. And speaking of inventory, Matt, I thank you so much for sharing those numbers. I can't believe we've seen so much of a drop over the past few weeks, but I think we were texting about this. And I know it could be seasonal. Did you feel like we're going to start seeing more homes hit the market after New Year's?
Oh, we know it.
Yeah. We've seen an uptick on our side personally with clients reaching out and saying, hey, get ready. We're going to be making moves in Q1.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that other seasonal agents are doing the same. So I do think so. And originally when that was happening, we weren't seeing that balance from the buyer's side. We weren't seeing the engagement of new buyers. And it was a little bit like, is this going to really make our inventory shift where we're going to see a bunch come on? But then it also started making me think, well, this is going to be new, fresh inventory. And a lot of the people that are making this decision to do so they're making the decision. It's not a decision made for them, which is most of our inventory right now. It's not something that they chose to do. It's divorce or death or moving.
A lot of divorce.
Yeah. Or just they got to sell another home. It's just, there's a bunch of things. The bottom line is a lot of those people right there are dealing with a lot more, we'll say, psychological baggage. They're stressed. There's a reason that they're having to sell during this time. And it's usually not a positive reason. So that just kind of reverberates through the marketplace. And it's very difficult. And, we definitely feel for those sellers that are kind of stuck in that position, dealing with it and hoping that they're getting the advice that they need. But to what you're saying, Ryan, I think this new fresh, we'll say fresh slice of inventory that's about to hit the market, I think it could even stimulate things. And question for you, have you noticed, like, as far as people that own homes and are looking to, hey, we need to sell our home and buy another home, contingent buyers, have you noticed any uptick on that front?
We have, yes. And what's interesting is, we track, who we're following up with, in the next upcoming months, who maybe put things on hold that we've had discussions with, throughout the last half of the year, and are saying, we want to wait until maybe January, February for us to follow up so we can kind of start the process again. We're at a record number of follow-ups for January and February for people who are like, we're waiting until after the new year to start things. So that might be indicative of where we're heading, that things are really going to be picking up after the new year, even more than they have been over the past couple of weeks. And yeah, a lot of those people are ready to move up and it's contingent. And it's kind of funny, a lot of them are becoming more accidental landlords that instead of selling, they're really deciding to just rent their houses out. There's a lot of great down payment options out there. You can get into a home with as little as 5% down if you own a house. So we do have a lot of our clients that are thinking long term and thinking about it more of an investment than selling and putting a large down payment and then renting out their current house, actually. So I know that would probably have a big effect on inventory now where people are holding. So are you seeing a lot of that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's a great thing because a lot of these, we've seen all these investors come through and scoop up the big corporate, hedge fund investors buying large pools. A lot of these people that are hanging onto their homes, they're local investors. And I love seeing that because I think that's super important. And it says a lot about our marketplace.
I totally agree. And what you said is kind of exciting to me, Ryan, that you have so many follow-ups, for buyers slated in January and February, because what Matt and I were discussing, and to kind of piggyback off of what he had begun to say, is we have so many listings coming up at the beginning of the year, so many coming up in Q1. And we started to notice, hey, we've got maybe even the same amount of buyers coming up too. So that's cool, right? So there's like kind of a little give and take there. And so what you're saying is exciting, because I think in speaking with other colleagues of mine and just knowing what I know about this time of year, having done it so long, I know we're going to see an influx of listings hit the market. And I'm glad to hear that we're going to have some buyers consuming that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I really feel like there's just been a shift in an attitude, really, from a lot of the phone conversations that we're having. Just personally, where it was really more pessimistic over, October and November, and now it's shifting to be a little bit more optimistic. And we really like the National Association of Real Estate chief economist. His name is Lawrence Yoon. He's actually always been really great at kind of predicting the market and kind of seeing where things are headed. He was even saying, I have a quote here. He said, "The market may be thawing since mortgage rates have fallen for 5 straight weeks. The average monthly payment is now almost $200 less than it was several weeks ago when rates peaked." He says, "I very much see things improving for 2023. So that kind of reflects how I think people are feeling as well, that they're getting a little bit more optimistic about the real estate next year.
I think we feel that way too, don't we, Matt?
I do. And I think like what we were discussing the other day, we're at this very unique point of the market where, before, especially, 40 days ago, when we didn't really know what these inflation reports were going to deliver, how things were going to, kind of give us that little push into 2023. We were at this point where we felt like it could go one way or the other. We could all of a sudden see rates drop and huge demand, low inventory, and see us return, or doom and gloom news, something happens, rates continue high, and it just goes the other way. Now I feel more optimistic that it's actually more heavily weighted to go positive than negative, just because we are trending in the right way as far as inflation goes. Our inventory has shown us that. And even just the consumer confidence, talking to Ryan and seeing what we're seeing going into 2023. If you listen to the narrative right now, it's still friggin' doom and gloom. If you try to find good news, it's pretty hard when it comes to mortgage and or real estate. You got to look for it. They're still pushing this kind of fearful tone. And I think that's, it's obviously contagious, and
it sells.
It sells, and it's also very fitting for a mindset that someone's already is. It's easy. And I don't think that's the case. So my point to that is I feel like we're going to see things shift. Q1 going into it might be a little bit slow, because I think people are kind of easing into the pool, touching the water now. But before, they're sitting on the fence all the way back behind the lifeguard. Now they're, putting their toe in, and I think people are going to start to see, oh, this is comfortable, and boom, we're going to have a pool party before we know it.
And we have over 9,500 homes under contract right now.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Like as of last night. And that is a big uptick. CCBS and pending. So you know what pending is? CCBS is, do they have another home to sell? So it might not close in December because they have another home to sell. It's contingent. And UCB is just they're under contract accepting backup offers. So that one's likely going to go through. But Armless reported in November with their, Tom Ruff, the commentary that I always like to read that Armless sends out, that December is going to be kind of quiet, probably the most quiet on record. Very few contract signings, very few closings, and few new sellers placing their home on the market. I think they were right about the few new home sellers placing their home on the market, but I think they're very, very surprised about the amount of activity we got in December.
Absolutely. And you can see that last kind of investor activity. About 30 days ago, we were not getting engaged by anyone, even on the personal properties that we own. You get these crazy mailers from investors that are trying to buy your house. That was crickets. And we've actually noticed that we are getting a lot more inquiry from investors. And these are not just stupid, arbitrary low numbers either when they're coming in. Like 45 days ago, $100,000 was the offer below everything. It seems like that was their arbitrary number.
Unreal.
And now it's like 30 to 50,000 below list, and they're engaging more. Their inspection periods are shorter. So I do think that's what we're seeing. And the other good thing is it's December. From an investor standpoint, when we look to acquire, if you're looking for a really good deal, December is always proven to be the best time to get a good deal. So people are going to say, hey, we need to get this off our books, or why are they selling right now? Because it's clearly blood in the street. We need this gone. So I think investors are going to come in and clean up a lot of that stuff that needs to go. And it's just going to make things even more sparkly from an inventory stance going into 2023.
And these new buyers are going to be really excited about all these new listings coming up because we have some great ones, let me tell you. So all you buyers out there that are listening that are ready, look at Team Evo AZ. We've got some good ones coming up. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, I would just, I guess going into 2023, I think one of the biggest things too is just remaining cool. You know, unless you have some sort of situation that's creating a sense of urgency that you do need to sell quick or buy quick. I think that you should really feel it. Go in and make sure you're doing the right thing. Get all the information that you can. Make sure you're tapped into resources that are delivering you real information in the market that you're looking. You're not just digesting national news and such, because that's just going to be totally misleading. And I think at this point, it's really not about the price and such. It's going to be the timing. So
yeah, a lot of what I'm telling my clients right now is study the facts and question the headlines. Just for that reason, exactly.
Yeah.
And listen to this podcast for the real news, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
That's all you need to do. Every month,
Yeah.
20 minutes, you got all your Phoenix news. You're good to go. You're making great decisions if you're a follower. Trust me. All right, everybody. Well, I can't believe another year is wrapped up, you guys. I just love working with you both. We're an amazing team together, if I do say so myself. I cannot wait to change more lives with you both in 2023. So thank you so much for being by my side. You are absolute rock stars. And for all of you out there, thank you so much for a wonderful year of listening. We are getting your comments. We are seeing your downloads. So thank you. Keep doing it. Hop on over if you are more that audio version type. We are Arizona Real Estate Radio on your favorite podcast platform. Just give us a quick search and you can connect with us right there. If you subscribed, then you will be notified of our new shows. And we love to drop content. So you will not be disappointed. You will not be bored, I promise. If you are more of that visual type, hop on over to our YouTube. It's beautiful, if I might add. But anyway, hop on over there and check out our playlist. All of our shows are divided up in playlists, and the monthly market housing report, which you are listening to right now, is the very first playlist. And we are at Team Evo AZ on YouTube.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you all.
See you next
Happy
year.
holidays.
Yeah.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.